Hello, everybody. It's Shelley Duplessis again from Strong Future Gens, and it's my delight today to interview a lovely young lady, and her name is Khayle Links. Hello, Khayle. Nice to have you here today and to be able to speak to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pastor Shelley. Really do appreciate it.
Khayle, the past for you just recently has been difficult and different. I think what I'd like you to do is just to introduce yourself first of all, before we get into that part of your life. Introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, any other interesting facts or figures you'd like to give us.
Well, there isn't really anything that's like really crazy interesting, but like you've mentioned, my name is Khayle. I live here in East London. I'm 32. And as far as, describing myself, I definitely describe myself as someone that is very artsy, very creative. I love people. I love doing things for people. And just also, ministry is a huge part of my life. I love God. I love doing things within the church. And one of the big things that I can add on to my resume, if I can call it, lately has been that I've been a cancer, I don't even want to call it survivor because I hate that phrase. It almost seems like you've just scraped through. But I'm a cancer conqueror, a cancer warrior. So so that's pretty much in a nutshell who I am.
Awesome. Khayle, just while we're chatting, I do see there's a little bit bounce on the screen. So if I could just, I'm not sure if it's your chair bouncing or whatever, but
No, that's cool.
Maybe it's just nerves or excitement, but it's great. Khayle, I just wanted to ask you, when you were 16, did you expect to find yourself here? And how did you get here?
Definitely not. I mean, I think when you're 16, you have a whole lot of different things that you aspire to, and there's a whole lot of things that you see yourself doing. But my current situation definitely was not what I had envisioned, what I pictured. Not what I'd planned, not what I'd necessarily hoped for, but just at the current moment, with me currently being post my cancer journey, you kind of find yourself in a stage of limbo and having to now recalibrate and, in a sense, put yourself back into gear when it comes to normal life, So I definitely wouldn't have seen that for myself. But is it one thing that I, in a sense, regret? I don't think so. Because even through my whole cancer journey, it's something that I've been able to take certain things from and just learn, and be able to grow myself in that sense.
Yeah, that's really interesting, some of the things that you've said. So, Khayle, could you take us back to the beginning of your cancer journey? I know you said that it's a tender journey for you, so we will appreciate the fact that there may be tears, a little bit of a lump in your throat. And I just want to say thank you for being brave enough to talk about it, and especially with being so open about what type of cancer it was, where it was placed. I think that's very important. But take us on a journey of how it was discovered and etc. etc.
Yeah. Okay, so before I even get into that, let me just give you a bit of a background. So for me, when I was younger, the type of cancer, first of all, that I had was breast cancer. And when I was younger, I've always had fairly large breasts. And one of the things that I discovered when I was still a teenager was a lump in my breast. Went to the doctors, had it checked out. At that stage, everything was fine. It was benign. It was nothing to worry about. Had it removed, carried on with life. But definitely, once you have that kind of experience happen, you become a lot more conscious of, just making sure that you do self-examination. So that's always kind of been part of my life. So let's fast forward now to December 2019. I'm at home after service, so it's a bit of a break in between our two services that we have. And, just realizing that, I haven't checked myself in a really long time. And I decided to check, and then that's when I found a lump. And I don't know if it's like female intuition or whatever the case is, but when you know your body, you know what is normal and what's abnormal. And at that stage, I was like, you know what, this is not normal. This isn't something that I know I've felt before. Eventually, I went to a doctor, my very first doctor that I saw. He told me that, yes, I do feel the lump, but don't worry, you don't have to stress yourself. It's not cancer or anything like that. So I was like, okay, cool, awesome, nothing to stress about. But I also wasn't on any kind of medical aid, so I needed to go through to a government hospital for, in case I needed an operation and just be able to take everything going forward. I went there, another doctor checked me, and she's like, oh, I feel the lump, but you don't have to stress about it. It won't be cancerous, but just to be sure, let's do a biopsy where we can just check the matter that's in your breast, and we'll just be able to get peace of mind about the whole situation. A few weeks went by, got my results, and the doctor's like, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's cancer. And at that stage, quite honestly, I'm a very delayed person when it comes to my reactions, because I heard him, but the first thing that came to my mind was like, okay, so what are we going to do to sort out the problem? I wasn't in shock. I honestly wasn't in a state of freaking out about it or anything like that. And he, very calmly told me about that. And I was like, okay, what's the next steps? Which was surgery, which was chemotherapy, which was radiation. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So ended up going for some counseling, went through the whole process of the surgery, the chemotherapy, and the radiation. And it's probably been now just over a month post all of that kind of stuff. So like I said earlier on, that, it's now just trying to piece life together again to try and make things feel normal, or the way that I knew them before. So that's the entire journey in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey, and it's interesting that it coincides with 2020 and the whole coronavirus, and the year that many people are talking about, the year of great loss.
Yeah.
So now here you sit, and you're not actually quite sure how to move forward, but you're not going back. But I think there's something that is missing from your story, and that's the people you've met on the journey. And how you've been able to use your situation to help alleviate their pain and suffering. So don't you want to just, fill us in on that part? How did you manage to help people when you were probably feeling really ill and grim? And I've never been in that position, so I don't quite know the emotion. So, just perhaps fill us in, and then maybe just what you have to say to some folk out there that are perhaps listening and may find themselves in a similar position.
Yeah, when it comes to just the people that I've met on this journey, and that's part of the reason why I'm so excited. Trust me, there were times where I was like, Lord, just heal me, take this away from me. There's no need for me to have it. Like, why should I even have this? But in hindsight, the amount of people that I've met along this journey is insane. From the time that I was in the hospital bed, the people next to me, the people that I was talking to, the connections that I'd made, each and every time I went to a chemotherapy session or a radiation session, the connections that just happened, finding out about how many people this actually affects. People will be shocked at, probably if you walk down the road, heaven knows how many people that walk past you actually either have been affected directly by having any form of cancer, not necessarily just breast cancer, but it can either be them or it could be a loved one of theirs. And so it's opened my eyes. It's definitely opened my eyes to all the different things that's out there that people are being exposed to. And also, I remember the one time I was sitting on the outside, I was waiting to go into my chemotherapy session, and my partner and I were busy sitting, we're laughing, we're joking, because he's that type of person where, you know, he knows that I'm about to go into a very stressful situation. So let's make light of the situation. And that would be our usual routine. And on my last day of my session, I just went up to everyone and I thanked them to say that, you know, I thank you so much for everything that you've done. I know that you've made me lose my hair and everything, but, you know, I really do appreciate all the work that you've done. And one of the gentlemen there, he was talking about, you know, I've always noticed how you are just so jovial about the situation. You're going through something so rough and so tough, but the way that you've handled it is so inspiring. And for me, that was just another day, you know, whereas not knowing that there's other people out there that's actually taking note of these kind of things, you know, you carrying on with your life as normal, but there's other people that are that can actually see the struggle that you're going through, and also how you're handling that struggle that you're going through. So it's just been a whole eye opener for me.
Khayle, would you
Yeah.
say that it helped to have someone journey this journey with you?
Mm.
To walk through because I'm sure there were ups and downs, even though
Yes.
you were able to be so amazingly confident in your the way you tackled overcoming
Yeah.
cancer. But I think it must be really important, I can only assume, to have someone to journey this through with you and friends.
Yes.
So then let me
Yes.
ask you this question. Who has made a real impact in your life, you know, albeit now just recently, but who really
Yeah. Yeah.
affected your life and has affected your life over the years?
I feel like it would be very unfair if I had to maybe pinpoint it to a certain person, like maybe one or two individuals. Because quite honestly, I do feel that, you know, in the journey of life, there's different people that come in at different stages that influence you or that give you guidance and direction at those different stages within your life. So it's a broad spectrum of things. It's almost like a collaborative effort where it's friends, it's family, it's my partner, it's my church life, you know, it's God. So all of those things ultimately work together, because each and every one of those dynamics, relationship dynamics, they offer different things, you know, and because they offer me different things, I'm, you know, in a holistic sense, I'm being fed and I'm being encouraged. So yeah, I would put it down to that.
So that's great. It's really awesome to know that you had a almost like a team around about you that were just able to come
Yeah,
and meet you at every point. Katie, what would you
yeah,
say when we originally chatted around you coming to share with us? Um, I think I had spoken mostly about women having breast cancer.
yeah.
And you very quickly corrected me and said this is not a disease that affects women. And I appreciate that, because
Yeah.
I don't think we talk enough about the fact that it does affect others as well. So
Mm,
what would you say? What advice would you give to women and then to men
mm.
um, who find themselves in this position where they are facing the possibility of having to have a biopsy to determine whether it's a cancerous growth?
Yeah. I would definitely say that knowledge is power. You know, everyone's heard that phrase, but that concept is really true. The more you know about something, the less you feel like you don't have control over a situation. So if there is a man or a woman, because we definitely have to, you know, speak about the realities of men also get breast cancer, as strange as it may sound, but men also do, you know, get breast cancer. And you have to do your homework. First of all, you have to be very conscious of yourself, your body, what you put into your body, how you treat your body, um, and just, you know, be very intentional about your health. Check up on yourself, you know, go to the doctor. Or one of the things, actually, a thought that I had was, a lot of the time people want to leave the power of their health in the hands of a doctor. Whereas you're only going to be seeing that doctor maybe once a year, twice a year, or whenever it is. Whereas you're the one that's living in your own body. You are the one that knows the changes that happens in your body. So you need to be intentional about, making sure that whatever it is that's going on in your body is well looked after. So just teach yourself about what you should be looking out for. Teach yourself about what would be the best way for your body to work efficiently. And it just all boils down to just the knowing of the way forward for yourself, health-wise, wellness, and just like the holistic aspect of what it means to be a good, healthy person, So just the knowledge aspect of it.
Yeah, just be alert to things that are changing in your body. Khayle, can I ask you this question? Is there something you'd like to say to those of us who've never experienced this journey that you've been on? That you perhaps felt it was, when we speak is insincere, or it's you don't understand, or what would you like to say to folk that they bear in mind when they deal with folk who've got cancer diagnosis or a serious illness? What is it that you'd like to know? Please don't say this, or please don't say that.
First of all, I think that a lot of people need to realize that they mustn't think that it can't happen to them. I think that's the first place where people go wrong, is that they assume that, I'm a healthy, I run every day or every other day. I eat fairly well, but there's a whole lot of different external factors, not just internal factors that could happen that will, eventually let you get cancer. So don't ever think that you are immune to it. Ultimately, you live in a human body that is exposed to a lot of stuff, and, it could happen to you. And, when it comes to just the type of, there's a level of empathy that you obviously need to have when it comes to, interacting with people that have experienced or are currently going through their cancer journey and their cancer walk. So just take it from a place of, even though you may not have it right now, think of it that you might actually one day get it. So you will be more understanding, you will be more kind to that person. You don't expect their emotions to always be 100%. So don't go there and tell them like, oh man, you're so weak, you can't handle this, because it's rough. People don't understand it's rough. Just be, yeah.
That's great. It's really just good food for thought for all of us to realize that each one of us could actually experience something where we could find ourselves in a similar predicament. And we just need to really be empathetic and kind to those that are walking on the journey. Khayle, now obviously you are post your treatment, and we're really grateful that that's behind you. But what would you say to a young Khayle if you were, with the knowledge that you have now, what would you have said to a young Khayle? Because I think sometimes we feel as though when we've had something like this, life as we know it has come to an end. But I understand you are in limbo, but also a chance or a possibility to reboot and to start something fresh. But what would you say? What would be the words of wisdom that you would share with yourself or any 16 to 18-year-old who's perhaps going to watch this interview?
I love that question. Absolutely love that question. Reason being, like, I feel I have such a long laundry list of things that I would tell the young version of myself. So I'm going to try and just condense everything as far as possible. But one of the things I wish, I knew back then was just the ability to care less about people's opinions on myself and my life, because it's almost like when you have other people's opinions that speak about, oh, you know what, you're probably not good at this, you're not going to succeed in that. Those type of things end up shaping you, and people don't realize that those type of things end up shaping you. And also, you know, hand in hand with that comes the whole concept of just being careful of the company that you keep, because again, those people end up shaping you. Some of the other things that I would tell myself is that failure is part of the journey of life. It's gonna happen. Embrace it. Mess ups happen, and it's okay, because you're gonna learn from it. You know, there's always moments where I'll look back and be like, oh, I wish I didn't do that thing. But at the same time, it's like, you know what? I actually don't mind that I did that thing, because now I know better. When you're in that kind of situation where you failed, then you're actually able to know better. And then also, just the whole concept of not comparing my current life situation to the next person, because when you do that, you find yourself in a situation where you don't appreciate the current now, the, you know, the present moment. You find yourself in a place where you're busy looking over at the fence, looking at the grass is greener, or you assume that the grass is greener on the other side, and you don't actually appreciate the grass that you have on your side. And especially now, you know, with my cancer journey, I'm like, you know what, there's so many things to be appreciative about. I have friends, I have family, I have a home, I have a church life, you know, all these different things that have so much more weight and gravity, versus me stressing myself about what the next person does. You know, live your own life and live it to the fullest. um, and then also just another two things, I think these are the two main things that I really want to talk about. But number one is finding your gifting. That's been a really big deal for me. The whole concept of finding your gifting, finding what you're good at, finding what you're passionate about, finding what actually fulfills you. Because I feel like when a person actually finds that gifting, life just becomes so much easier to live, you know? And then also, hand in hand with the gifting is something I've been doing lately, which is journaling or diarizing certain things. I was gifted a diary when I just finished my operation. A friend came through and she gifted me a diary, and I was so thankful for it, because all of the things that was going on up in my head, I was now able to put on paper, you know, get that out of my head and be able to get it out onto paper, and write dreams and write certain goals that I have, and just, you know, be able to hope and dream again. So it's all of those kind of things that I wish I knew when I was 16 to 18, or even way younger than that, because obviously those kind of things would be my foundational things that will be able to carry me through to up until where I am now, you know?
Kaylee, those are really wise words. And even for folk listening today who may not have started those things, you know, I trust that this will be something that will just spur them on. Start
Yeah.
now. It's never too late.
It's never too late. Yeah.
It's never too late. And so, Kaylee, I really just want to say thank you to you for being so open, so passionate. We do wish you well for the future of your journey and
Thank you.
whatever lies ahead as you find your new rhythm and your
Thank you.
new thing. So thank you for speaking to us today, and yeah, just really been very special for me. So thank you so much, Kaylee.
Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.